I was at a professional crossroad. I am a first-generation immigrant, so it's not an easy journey, but I was working on television and my employer went bankrupt. So with that, I went bankrupt because
Thank you, everybody. Welcome. Today we have Anush in the house. She's an executive coach who helps self-made, hardworking, high-achieving professionals on the edge of promotion and level up to Fortune 500 companies without burnout and without sacrificing their lives for work. Thank you for being here.
well, thank you for inviting. I'm really looking forward to this and how we can help more people level up.
Yes, yes. So please share with us a little bit about your background so we get to know you more.
Absolutely. So I'm an executive coach. My clients call me Coach Anush. You can call me Coach Anush as well. And what does that even mean? I work with professionals, leaders, new leaders, individual contributors that are within Fortune 500 companies and want to get promoted. And I help them get to their next level with clarity. And I help them with psychology, with strategy and execution. And so if you are in your 30s and 40s and have that drive within you and you think, oh, my promotion is overdue, I know there's more for me, then maybe, not maybe, for sure, listen up. We're going to share a lot of tools and techniques in terms of how to get there.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know there was such a thing, to be honest. So I was like, whenever you were sharing that, I was like, oh, wow. It's like that is, an executive coach is so needed sometimes, especially if we're hardworking and we want to go to the next level in our work field. So
yeah, and it used to be that executive coaching is for CEOs only, but nowadays it's like we're democratizing coaching, and it's, people, you don't need to be a CEO to get a coach. In fact, if you want to be a CEO, you need to get a coach, and most successful people have coaches, from athletes to CEOs,
yes,
Yeah.
presidents. I was very
Exactly.
impressed whenever I knew the presidents had coaches. I was like, oh, wow.
Absolutely. And and again, there are so many people that call themselves coaches, but one of the things to look out for is, like, when you're looking for a coach, make sure they're certified. So there's International Coach Federation that certifies people. Now I'm going to MCC level, which means, about 2,000 hours of coaching and years of practice. And most importantly, look at the results. Like, what are the results that the coach has created for people?
Yes, of course. Yeah, like what have they created? Yes, I love that. Uh, so what led you into becoming an executive coach, that shares tools with people to are at the edge of getting promoted in their field? Like what got you into this?
Well, my own transformation and my own, I was at a professional crossroad. I am a first-generation immigrant, so it's not an easy journey, but I was working on television and my employer went bankrupt. So with that, I went bankrupt because I was living paycheck to paycheck, consuming all of my energy. And I remember that day when I had tears in my eye, well, as I was fueling my car, and I'm like, what am I going to do next? I've consumed all of my money. As a first-gen immigrant, you don't have a couch to go back to. So it was in that place that I don't know what's next that I, went into coaching. I had $2,500 on my credit card. And like, that's it. This is the only money I have. And I maxed it out and I got myself a coach. And it was the best decision ever, because 6 months in, not only was I able to rent a place in LA, I bought a place in LA, and most importantly, I discovered the profession of coaching. I landed a great gig in PR, and I'm a former CNN World reporter. I'm a PR executive, so I got myself a PR gig. But most importantly, I started getting certified and used the tools that have helped me, and I wanted to pay it forward. And it's been a journey since then. I've been paying it forward for the past 10 years.
Wow, that's amazing. So you have 10 years of experience in executive coaching. That's amazing. That is amazing. That makes me happy. Oh, what changed?
Initially, if
Go
I
ahead.
may, initially I was doing coaching to everybody. And then I realized, specifically in the past couple of years, it's been more for leaders and professionals, because it's even an intense game, because you get to work with a whole person, you work with their professional growth, but also you take into consideration, the personal roadblocks that are getting in the way of the professional growth. So it's a very intense, beautiful journey. And I love seeing the transformation in people, because it's promotion, but it's transformative promotion. It's so much more.
That is, yeah, it's beautiful. It's not just obtaining the goal, but it's like who you're becoming, right? As you are achieving the goal and you seeing them transform. It's priceless of it.
Yeah, because what you get will keep you happy for a while. I remember I first got my Louis Vuitton bag, and it was exciting. I had it right in front of me and I looked at it. But then after a while, I was like, uh-huh. But then the becoming, and I remember when I first got my big, I don't know, I was coaching a senior vice president and of a big media company. I was like, yes, no. And then and I got the testimonial. It's like, it's the becoming. Who are you becoming, and what are you able to give? That makes it even more interesting and lasting, most importantly.
Yes, yes. And that's one thing we have to remember, is like, who are we becoming as we're struggling to obtain a goal?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. So, what changes have you seen in the work field since the pandemic happened? What might be stopping us from moving forward?
Mhm. So it's so interesting. It's almost like the pandemic has been a highlighter of what's happening. It's almost like everything has come up to the surface, all of the fears, all of the desires. But if they were like, let's say it's level 3, they became at level 10. So it's almost like everything is magnified throughout the pandemic. And one of the shifts that I have seen is, of course, it's fear. People were fearful. And I coached during the entire, from the very beginning all the way to now. And I'm so happy to have been a part of Better Up, global network of expert coaches. And together we did 1 million coaching sessions. And yeah, it's like 1 million coaching sessions. And we saw people in their most vulnerable time when the COVID hit, and they still have to take care of the kids. You have to take care, especially if you're in leadership, you usually have help, right? Hired help. And the hired help is gone. So it was a lot, especially on women's plate, because they have to take care of the kids, they have to take care of cooking, this and that, right? So on one side is the personal too muchness. On the other side is change at workplace and layoffs and reorgs and all of those things. So it really heightened what's happening within. So the hardest, single people took it really hard. Single people with pets, it was a bit easier. People that were with families and had those connections, it was much easier for them. However, if the family relationships were not good, it was much more harder on those people. So it was a very interesting thing. And for people that, like individual contributors or people that want to get promoted, one of the biggest recurring themes, like, is it piggish of me? I even had a client say that to me. Is it, even though she was delivering amazing value, doing work for 2, 3 people, she was like, is it really piggish of me to talk of a promotion or bring up promotion when people are getting laid off?
Oh, okay.
So there's that piece. However, I also had leaders that, had direct reports. And their thing is like, if I don't get my, this amazing talent promoted, what if they leave the company? So it's so interesting how there was, when you know both sides of it, it's like you see the whole picture. So, and I have had people that got promoted even through pandemic. So it's during those during those times of crisis, true leadership is so important, because leadership is bringing certainty to where there is uncertainty. Of course, there are tools and techniques that can help you, and hard work alone won't do it. But it's about taking charge of the inner world and being very specific in terms of what you want and why, and how does that add value not only for you, but also for the company and the business.
Beautiful. Yes. I mean, it was a life changing for all of us, and I can only imagine leaders having to step up and lead their people, and at the same time leading their family uh, from home.
Yeah.
Must have,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's for leaders, it's multi-layered, because they have to lead their family, they have to lead themselves, because they're scared, they're going through things, right? They're burned out because it's too muchness. And a bit later I can talk about scientifically proven things that happen, that if you have too much of those, then it leads to burnout. And when we know when we're burned out, we're not really productive and there isn't really much we can do.
Yes, yes. Uh, what is the right mindset, we need to adopt if we're looking for that promotion?
Yeah. So I have, by the way, for your audience, they can also go into my website and download this free training that I have created, because promotion and overwhelm is something that I hear in every session, day in and out. So I have developed a special mindset / strategy for people to get promoted. But the number one thing that's really, really helpful is to understand what is the core reason for your promotion. Because everybody wants to get promoted. And then when we go deeper and deeper, for some, it's about the raise. So is the promotion because you want to be raised? For example, I had a client, she was newly engaged and she was getting paid $140,000, but the market was paying 175 and she really needed the money. And it became clear in her current role that they didn't have the funds. She was in charge of the budget. They didn't have the funds. So number one filter for her was the raise. And she made a move and she's getting paid 175K and she's much more happy with the product. So like, what is the core reason? Is it about the raise? Is it about a title? And I had another client who's like, I don't care for the money. My husband is making great money. I just need that recognition. So is it about work-life balance? Maybe you have a special needs kid and you need to have that work. Like, what is your core reason for that promotion? You got to get clear about that. That's number one thing, because clarity is power. And the second piece is like understanding whether whatever you're doing, like if you want to get promoted, you're not getting promoted because of the culture, because of the role you're in, because of the resources, or is it because you are holding yourself back? And in a little bit, I can share with you a tool that can help people identify whether it's them or is it the role.
Okay, yes. We can move on to that. We can move, what are some of the strategies, that we need to apply if we're looking for a promotion?
Yeah. So number one thing, as you know, Paula, is that a lot of times we get in the way of ourselves. If we have beliefs that, are not really supportive of the growth of the promotion. Like if you think it's piggish of me to ask for a promotion, even though I have been delivering value working for 2 people, right? That belief alone is going to hold you back, right?
Yes.
Or if you believe myself, hard work will automatically translate into promotion, as we know, in the busy executives world, people don't have time to go that deep. So you got to really be able to quantify the impact, the value that you've had, and you got to be able to present it in a way, because you may have the most delicious cookie, but if it's in your hand and nobody is tasting it or knows that you have that cookie, nobody is going to benefit from it. So it's about understanding what is the meaning you're attaching to a promotion. Like, what does that even mean for you? Do you think hard work without, visibility and presentation should equate to promotion? Do you think it's piggish to think of promotion? Do you think, I had a client, this is so interesting. She was a very young, bright talent in a tech company. And she saw 2 of her leaders be very negligent in their personal relationships. One would always forget her kid in the kindergarten, like literally they had to call and say, hey, come pick up your kid, you're late again. And the other one would go to Ibiza and she's like, I don't want to get promoted and then have to take up phone calls while I'm taking a vacation, or forget my kid in the kindergarten. So the associations, and you're so good at this, I'm sure you understand, the associations she had with promotion were so negative. But then I said, do you have other leaders that do have that work-life balance? Do you have other leaders that are not forgetting? It's just like, yes. So once we were able to establish other role models for her, she was able to be excited about a promotion. She got 50K raise and she was able to move 2 levels up. And I just got a text message the other day saying, I'm so happy I made the move.
Oh, so good. Yes.
And the associations, that's going to be huge.
Yes, associating, that it is possible, like it starts with our belief that we're enough, we're capable enough. We have the tools, we have what it takes. We're willing to take the challenge.
Yeah, because the number one thing is the belief. The second piece is really understanding what is that immediate next level upgrade? Because it's like, okay, I'm a director, I want to be a senior manager. Like once you know your core reason, right? And then you got to identify what is the immediate next level and what would it take? So what would it take? And a lot of times they let the promotion cycle go by, they get the feedback, but they don't really have the courage to go and say, what would it take for me to move to the next level? Do I need to get certified? Do I need to get people management experience? All of those things. And then how much time are you willing to give yourself to get that promotion without feeling like a victim? Because that piece, I get a lot of clients and they're like, this promotion is overdue, that they're not really showing up for the work. They're in this middle space, like you cannot be here and here at the same time. So giving themselves a time frame, that's going to be another one. And most importantly, understanding the team that's going to help you get promoted. Is your manager your advocate or adversary? Are you being blocked by your manager? That's number one thing. And then are you stuck just within this particular role, or are you looking beyond? If your manager is I had a client, he has delivered about $1 billion in value to the company, but the manager would always take credit and would prevent him from presenting to the leadership. So finally, he got a meeting with a CMO and all of that, and he was able to get past that block. So what is blocking you is important to understand. Maybe it's your own beliefs, maybe it's a setting. And then taking massive action and highlighting the impact that you've had, like quantifying it. I was able to go from here to here. I was able to grow my team, and this is what it has done for the business.
Awesome. Clarity, like, and then a good psychology, like believing in ourselves and asking. I guess that's a big one. Sometimes we don't feel like feel guilty. Like you were saying a while ago, like if I ask, it's like you might feel guilty for asking for more, but you're just asking the pathway. You're like, what would it take for me to go to the next level? Like you were saying, and do I need to get certified? How many years of experience do I need? Just having the courage, to inform. And that's all you're doing, just informing yourself. What are the steps to get to the next level?
Yeah, and what it take and by when. I think a lot of times another piece that is like vague. Yes, we talked about my promotion, but we weren't clear, like what would it take and by when? Because then when you know a time frame, first of all, it accelerates the growth and it makes it real. Otherwise, you don't really have a commitment. That's another piece.
True. Yes. Like if we set a date, then we better start working. It's kind of like the people that said, okay, I have to lose so many pounds by the summer because I have to, they're going to wear their bathing suit. So they have a date. So
yeah. And, Tony Robbins says, it's like, when you talk about it, it's a dream. When you plan it, it becomes possible. But when you schedule it, it becomes real. So a lot of them, having that time frame and being okay with it, it removes the stress, first of all, like, because, I have this much time. And what it also does, it makes it real. Like you have something to go towards.
Yes. I like that. Yeah. I do practice it on the main things, but I need to practice it more, like the scheduling. And he always talks about that. Schedule it. And then you're going to force yourself to get it done. So good.
And another important thing, if you are considering a promotion, is to understand, okay, what would it cost you? Yes, you know how people will do more to avoid pain than they will do to pleasure? Yes, maybe he will get the 30K, maybe he'll get the 50K, but it might not be as exciting. But what would it cost you if you didn't move? And a lot of times I do this exercise, like imagine 3 years have passed by and your peers have moved up and you're capable of more, but you haven't actually done it. How does that make you feel? So connecting that pain and pleasure to the promotion in a real, authentic way is also going to be very helpful.
Yes, that is true, because sometimes we know of people that are rather just to play low because they're afraid of what they have to do at a higher level. And yes, if we learn to see, if you're in the same spot, like you said, 3 years from now, how are you going to feel if you see everybody moving up and you're still in the same spot? It's like, oh, I'll move. I'll take action,
If you want to. And for some people, some people might say, you know what, I'm very happy. Then you take that away and like, okay, right now this job provides me with flexibility. I'm just going to show 100% and deliver at this level. Then you take away the pressure of, oh, I got to be promoted. So it's really being honest with yourself, understanding what is the core reason. What is your, I always say this, what is your immediate next level upgrade professionally and personally as you consider your whole life?
Good. Yes. Because, yeah, some people might be happy, you know, if we're talking like from 0 to 10, there is people that are content at a 4, you know, and don't take their 4 away because they don't want a 5. They're okay at a 4. So,
Right.
yeah, it's
And
like be true to yourself.
right. Or maybe they're in a different season where they're taking care of their, you know, and this is like, this is not a place. But then having that taken away, like now is not the promotion time. Now it is about maintenance. Now it's about promotions, like showing up authentically and fully for whatever it is without the guilt is going to be a huge piece.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. I was reading a quote right before we were preparing for the interview, and I thought of you. Like, I don't know why. So I'm going to share the quote with you.
Oh, what is it?
I know you've been working hard with taking care of your mom and work and being a mom and a daughter. So this quote is from Aristotle, and he talks about, you know, like we are what we repeatedly do. So he says, excellence is an art won by training and habituation. We don't act rightly because we have a virtue or excellence, but we rather have those because we have acted rightly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit.
Yes.
So tell me about your way of living with excellence. Like, how can we learn from you today?
Well, excellence, you know, they always make fun of me. My sister does. She's here to help out with my mom as she's recovering from COVID. But I've always been the excellent student. I've always, you know, I got a diploma with honors, all of those things. But I think for me, excellence has always been about moving to the next level and really giving my all. And the downside of it could be is that perfectionism can get in the way. And perfection, and I remember the first time I heard this quote, it was like scary. Like perfection is the lowest standard you can set yourself up. That came from Tony. I was like, what is he talking about? Perfection is the way. But then there was this clarification, is that progress is what would make us, you know, happy. And it was that piece of, am I showing up fully? Am I doing better today than I did yesterday? And most importantly, to me now, excellence is, am I aligned with my values? And when I do the promotion work, we also look at someone's values, and is the promotion aligned with the values and goals you have at this stage of your life? So, and are you giving your all? Because if you're giving your all and you repeatedly do it and you move in that direction, it's going to create the results. And sometimes, you know, if the glass is this full and there's still this much to fill it in, it doesn't really show up. But if you're up here and there's like the final drop, then like, wow, it's overflowing. So it's about measuring progress versus your perfection, or that level of that big milestone. That has been actually quite life-changing for me, because before it was about just getting the result. Now it's about the progress and measuring the progress.
Enjoying the journey, right?
And sometimes it is enjoyable, sometimes it's not enjoyable, but that's part of the journey, right? It's like not everything that, and again, this is could be like one of those myths that it has to be enjoyable. Is it enjoyable most of the time? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm learning. I'm with you. Like I was a perfectionist. So since I met Tony and learning from his teachings has taught me that being perfect is not the way, because I was miserable. I didn't know I was miserable. So now it's like I'm learning, like this 2022, it's about enjoying the journey, like showing gratitude. It's like, am I showing up with gratitude? Am I bringing my faith, my integrity, you know, my love? It's like, how am I showing up? And even, you know, it sucks. There's days that sucks, but it's like, okay, find the gratitude. What did you learn? You know, like how can you enjoy that process, even if it was a little bit painful?
Yeah.
or, like I'm successful already. You are with me right now. It's like we are sharing, this is success. And sometimes we think that success is after we achieve climbing the mountain. But
Yes.
it's like, no, right now at this time is like you and I are talking, we're sharing beautiful information, hopefully impacting and empowering one or two souls out there with this information. So we are successful.
Yeah.
And it was hard, being a perfectionist, you don't see the success until you think you have to accomplish or climb that mountain. So
Yes.
it's a process uh, of learning and aligning with our core values, like you were saying.
And one of the things that really helps, I get a lot of high achievers are perfectionists. And then until they realize it's not sustainable. But one of the things to actually have that sense of achievement that you would get after getting that big milestone is to filter, is this helping me move towards the goal that I have? Is this a step in that direction? That's filter number one. And filter number two is this allowing me? Am I doing it? Am I making progress? If it's this much, am I further off? And then if I am, then I'm in the right path. And is this in alignment with my values? That's also a powerful tool. And rewarding yourself in the process.
Yes, that's beautiful. Yes, measure it. Like you were saying, is like, where are we at on our journey? Sometimes we get distracted with life. Somebody might get sick in our family. We might get a little bit off track, or we have, something come up. So measuring it and then celebrating our small steps. Yes, absolutely.
And celebration is a big word, especially for high achievers. Like they're like, oh, I got to have this big thing before I celebrate. So sometimes I wouldn't say celebrate, but I would say like, what do you want to acknowledge yourself for?
Yes.
That will align more. And then I give them this example. It's a study, it's a Berkeley study where they taken a monkey, not that I'm a monkey, not that you're a monkey, not that they're a monkey. They took monkey's figure and they moved it 10,000 times, right? After 10,000 times, basically doing it repeatedly, it went like this. And then they took this finger and they moved it only a couple of dozens of times. And then this finger went like that too. But what they did, they also stimulated the pleasure part of the brain. So you can consciously, continuously do it, and go toward the outcome without celebration, without the pleasure. And you will get there because you're a hard worker. Or you can celebrate the process and you can condition your body with this endorphin release so that your body wants more of that. You want more of that. And it's like, imagine, pushing the bus up the hill. That would be like just working really hard and going for perfection versus, sitting in your beautiful Range Rover or whatever and just driving up the hill. You still got to climb up, but when you do it with celebration, it's much easier.
Yes. And you teach your brain, like you said, like to do more of it. And it can be just a pat on the back or just a high five or, okay, good, just like recognizing that you move a step ahead. So
Yes.
yes, and we need to do more of it, like to make it a habit for all
Yeah.
of us.
I have a client, she rewards herself anytime with Skittles. So it's like anytime she measures her progress, not just the result, she got Skittles. And we have
Skittle.
it's so interesting. But then it's going to amount to, after a certain point, she has a trip to Paris and the other one is buying an Omega watch or whatever. But it's about learning to reward yourself in the moment and also long term.
Yes, that is beautiful. I mean, before I ask you the last question, where can we find you? There is somebody here in the audience, it's like they love your information and they want to do the free training you're talking about. How can we find you?
Yeah, absolutely. They can find me on LinkedIn as my name is Anush, Anush. Last name is Gagua, Gagua. And also my website is called outstandinglifecoach.com. And outstanding life is the idea is that you move from, so when I started, I was minus okay, right? So you go to okay, and then you go to good, and then you go to great, and then you go to outstanding. And outstanding to me, and I wonder what that is for you, is about living life on your terms, taking charge of your career versus feeling like a victim that the company is not giving you the growth or the career path that you deserve. So it's outstandinglifecoach.com.
Awesome. And I'm going to write it on that description so that they can
Yes.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, outstanding. It's living your life on your terms.
Yes.
Like following your integrity and practicing your core values and following the desires of your heart.
Exactly. Versus becoming someone you're not. If I
Yes.
may, if I may, I really want to share this job mismatch thing for people, because a lot of times people are like, is it me or is it the job? So here, if I may ask 6
Yes.
questions
Yes.
to the audience to help them out, as almost think of it as a quiz, because this is from Dr. Jacinta Jimenez, and she has done studies and has found 6 mismatches that if you consistently have those 6 mismatches or some of them, then it's going to lead you to burnout, and that's not a good place to be in. So number one question to ask yourself, and you can rate yourself on a scale 1 to 10, and you can do this too as we're talking, is like, is your workload, is it too much all the time with too little resources? So if 10, this is an extreme stressor, 1 not a stressor at all, rate yourself. So work overload, how much of it do you actually have? The second mismatch that actually can lead to burnout is control. Do you feel like you have a lack of control, or do you have control over what you do? Because if you consistently feel that you don't have lack of control, you're consistently micromanaged, that's going to lead to burnout as well. So rate yourself on that. And the third one is reward. Are you being rewarded for the work that you do? Like, you're working extremely hard. Are you getting the recognition? Are you getting the raise? Are you getting rewarded? Finally, breakdown in community. So belonging is such a huge factor. And we saw this, especially during pandemic, right? When people got isolated. So it's like, do you have a connection to the people around you or not? And there was a study by BetterUp where when people have that sense of belonging, they have up to 56% increase in job performance. So that's such a huge factor. And then finally, is it about values? Like, for you, it's important that it is service-based leadership, that people respect it, inclusive, and you have the CEO that plays favoritism and yells and all of those things. And if you're conflicted, that's going to create a burnout. And then absence of fairness. Like, you're doing all of this hard work, and then there's nepotism, and that the cousin come and they get promoted, for example. That's also going to lead to burnout. So don't get yourself burnout. Understand whether it's something that's within your control or beyond your control. And if it's time to switch, it's time to switch and leave the company and the safety, because it's not serving you.
Yes, your health matters, right?
Absolutely.
Psychological and physical health matters. So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for sharing that, because a lot of workers out there, they're not at the right spot right now. They're still wondering, where they need to go. So thanks for sharing that. You have shared plenty of information, lots of wisdom. But what are 3 things or 1 or 2 advice that you can give us to create a brighter future?
Number 1 is know what that bright future is for you. Clarity is power. What is that ideal vision? Wouldn't it, I always do this with my clients, wouldn't it be great? Imagine I have a magic wand. It's not, but imagine I have this magic wand, and there are 3 things that we could change in your life for you to feel more confident, more at ease, happier. Write this down. Wouldn't it be great if you had what, if you experienced what, if you achieved what? Get clear about the vision. That's number 1. Okay. Get clear. Number 2 is you got to see it as possible. So find people that have it, role models, see it possible. And the most important thing, understand, what is it that's holding you back? Get super clear, like, where am I? Where do I want to be? And what's in the way? And start taking massive action. It's very simple. And sometimes you need someone to believe in you before you can believe in yourself. So that's why coaching is so powerful, because it's that safe space, support, and challenge to pull you up when the going gets tough.
That's beautiful. Yes, clarity is power. If we know where we want to go, and then it's like you are 1 step ahead already.
And
Knowing.
taking charge, like, not get out of the victim mindset, and we all get sucked into it, like, become the CEO of your career and the CEO of your life, versus blaming it on others. I've made such huge shifts in my life, where I came from Armenia, and I was at a point where I had no food, rent, or transportation for next month's rent. And who would have thought that years later I'd be coaching leaders within Fortune 500 companies and getting life-changing reviews and great results.
That's amazing. I'm going to have you back, and then we're going to have to talk about resilience, because I would love to learn more about your story, like your life story. And as an immigrant, I'm an immigrant as well, but I was married, like I came here and we got married in Mexico and then we moved here. So my story is different than yours. Uh, like starting from the, you had to start from the beginning. So I would love to have you back and we talk about what, how this story took place, and we will learn from that as well. So we'll
Yeah,
schedule
do
that
it.
later.
Let's see. I always say that if immigrants, like, if people here start here as immigrants, we come here and then we have to level up to starting point and then move forward. So it's maybe twice harder.
Yes, yes. I can't wait to learn more about you. I hope you guys are finding, like a word, a phrase, an aha moment that you can adopt into your life to create a brighter future. It's never too late, and there's always room for improvement. So blessings to you all. High five.
Yay.
Thank you for being here.
High five. It's been wonderful. All the best. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.